You are ready now.
Okay. 6 o'clock, so I'm gonna go ahead and call this regular board meeting of the Saugatuck Township Board to order on Wednesday, April 8th, 2026. You are able and willing to please join me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will note that all trustees are present with the exception of Treasurer Helmrich, absent excused. That brings us to reports. We have no presentations today. Treasurer's report is included in the packet, correct?
Correct.
Planning Commission report is that planning commission?
Yes, we had a planning commission meeting on March 17th, 6 p.m. We had the application from the final condominium plan for Pine Trail Cabins in North Shores. A lot of extra information was provided in response to a letter from the New Alliance attorney, and that was ultimately approved. The special land use for mineral extraction for wood and iron with Brian Timmer, and that was partially approved and partially denied. The approval was to store materials on the site, and the denial part was for crushing activities. And we had another brief discussion about the planned unit development rezoning for the enclave. That's on the corner by the roundabout. And no decision was made because we ran out of time. We reviewed and approved the draft bylaws. The important part of that was it now follows what the planning commission actually does. And it has a section for conflict of interest that was added. We looked briefly at a data center sample ordinance. And we had several projects that have no progress going forward. And then the meeting adjourned, and we just left at about 9:50.
Very much, Clerk Tagman. Daniel, would you like to review the manager's report?
Yes, so we finally have our kickoff meeting for our Safe Streets for All grant, which is to develop a Safe Streets action plan. We talked with the consultant because the substantial reason why we pursued the grant in the first place is because if you can complete an action plan and submit it to the federal government, it makes you eligible for additional funding for implementation or construction projects. So we discussed fast tracking a kind of more of a bare bones plan that we could get adopted by the board and submitted to the federal government so that we would be eligible for federal funding for construction, and then returning to the plan and kind of filling in where there was some kind of like gaps or lack of detail, just so we could make sure that we're eligible for that funding, because we do not think that the program will be renewed by the current administration. And this is the last time that construction funding will be available. We'll be focusing our project that we submit on Blue Star Highway. We're also going to be leveraging two existing grant programs that we have. One of them is the Rural Readiness Program, so that is looking at a redesign of Blue Star that includes not only a redesign of the road, but also sanitary stormwater sewer from about Maple Street to 134th. And then we'll also include in that project the work that we're doing at the 135th, 65th Street intersection. So that's all underway, and this is the reason why we got all those grants, to figure out and identify the federal grants that we can get to actually implement the project. So that's all kind of moving full steam ahead. The city did host a pre-construction meeting for Maple Street. That work is all supposed to start sometime in May. We did talk about kind of coordinating communication, so I'm hoping that we can do that and execute it so that. Really our residents on Maple Street are getting updates about when there's gonna be closures and detours. A lot of this information is not really. It's not really directed for the general public, it's really to inform the neighbors of what to expect, so we'll be working with the city on coordinating that. Um. The Kalamazoo Lake Sewer and Water Authority met for its regular meeting on March 16th. This was the first meeting with our new administrator, Bob Miller, who's really fantastic, we're very excited for. We've already been working up with him on a few different projects, he's very professional, so we have high hopes for him at Cal Lake. But we did appoint new officers, we approved a separation agreement with the former manager. And we discussed the authority's role in the ongoing municipal discussions for the updated utility agreement. The township participated in a safe routes to school coordination meeting. So the school is very interested in pursuing this safe routes to school program. It's also a federal grant program. It does require coordination with the public schools and all the municipalities. So we're moving that forward. We're actually doing a walking audit in late April and I believe in early May of some of the routes around both the high school / middle school and the elementary school. At some point, this will come back to the board to see if you want to truly participate by making funding available to apply for the grant program. Cause there is some money that we'll have to do and spend in the area of engineering. But essentially, if you fulfill all the requirements of the program, you're almost guaranteed to get the money. So that will come back to you, but we're still kind of in the preliminary stages of putting that package together. For planning and zoning, we did hold a pre-construction, or we hosted a pre-construction meeting for Saugatuck Lodging. That is moving forward, and I believe they have their permits now to do vertical construction. But right now, they are working on some utility construction connecting to the sewer, and they're still waiting on their water connection permit from the state, but we did submit that on their behalf. We're continuing to advance a brownfield tip strategy to support a proposed housing development along the Blue Star Highway corridor. So we met with staff from the county brownfield authority just to make sure that what we were discussing and the items that we wanted to include in the brownfield plan match their goals and their expectations of what could get funded, and we seem to be aligned on that, so there'll be more information coming to you before it goes to the county, because essentially the county wants to know that the local unit is in support of the brownfield plan before they give it the thumbs up. And then I have registered, I think I told you this the other day, I registered for the American Planning Association National Conference, it's in Detroit this year, so I thought that would be pretty cool, I don't have to get on a plane or anything, but I think it'll be a very exciting conference and we get to see all of the interesting planning projects that are underway in Detroit. Lots of parks, we met for a regular meeting April 1st. We did host or participated in a local donor kickoff event for the acquisition of Riverside Park. That was organized by the Land Conservancy of West Michigan, but Supervisor Bigford and Parks Commissioner Jim Searing were there to represent the township. And I think that was a very successful event, and we've already gotten donations and some significant leads from it, so that was great. I participated in a Kalamazoo River Watershed Council wayfinding and mapping signage meeting for the Kalamazoo River. They're creating kind of like universal signage and maps in preparation for a water trail on the Kalamazoo River. So just to have like local representation and feedback in terms of like the sign design, but that's a great project that only kind of helps and dovetails with the efforts that we're doing at the township and at the Kalamazoo River Greenway Committee. And then we were able to get the county deck crew to do some cleanup at the Tails and Trails Park. If you haven't been there, go check it out. The improvements look great. There's still some final landscape that needs to be done. You want some grass to come in and make sure that it's coming in. There's a little restoration work left, but after that, we hope to do a little bit of like a kind of grand opening. Take some pictures and let folks know that it's open and what the improvements look like, but it really turned out great. And then construction continues at the newly renamed Sunset Park. That looks great. All of the concrete has been poured, so the paths are in. And then they'll continue with the landscaping. I don't know exactly when it's gonna be finished. They told me end of April, but that sounds very ambitious. I'm thinking more like May, June, because landscaping always has like little, little last minute things and delays, but that project is moving forward. And then Parks approved the continuation of invasive species treatment for Asian bittersweet and Phragmites at Tails and Trails, which is great because it's been very successful in treating the Phragmites. The township is partnering with the ODC network. We're co-hosting an open house on April 28th. To get feedback on a proposed Kalamazoo River Water Trail. So I think that'll be a nice event for the ODC and the township and to promote the Kalamazoo Greenway. No, okay. I'm just gonna let. This one. Okay. And I think you all see the construction started on the Township Hall project, which is very exciting.
Let's hope that's what it was.
Let's hope that.
Not a
Yes.
weather event.
Everything just fell off the building and the parking lot imploded. So that's exciting. So yeah, it's gonna be little, we're gonna have to be a little flexible, so this is gonna be closed for a little bit. The front parking lot's gonna be a primary lot, and then eventually this is gonna be, they're gonna put the gravel base in, so we'll have a larger lot back here, it'll be gravel. And then they'll be able to close off the front area and then do all the site work, and then we'll probably have to close the hall for the public. We'll still be able to answer the phones for 1 to 3 days while they do the final paving. But I mean, they're moving fast and furious, so we're really hoping that the whole project is completed by July 1st. Some boring stuff, but some great stuff that our fantastic finance coordinator took it on his behalf to update our chart of accounts, so it's very much so not only consistent, but like very current with state law and best practices. And we worked with the auditor on that too to confirm it, so the budget's gonna look slightly different this year, it's all gonna make sense. But it's just, it's best practice, and Peter was great in taking the initiative to do that. So really proud of him for doing that, and I think our auditor is gonna be very excited for us when he does his audit in the fall. I attended a roundtable on immigration enforcement hosted by our state rep Joey Andrews and Attorney General Dana Nessel. That was a very interesting conversation. A lot of insightful comments, but law enforcement was there. We had some local volunteer groups, local leaders, so that was interesting to hear directly from the state about what they're doing to work with ICE and also to protect our best interests. And I think that one of the things that directly impacted us when we had to sign our federal grant agreement, that there are some states that have to commit to working with ICE in order to get federal dollars, but the state of Michigan is currently took legal action against the federal government to block that. So when we signed our federal grant agreement, we did not have to commit to cooperating with ICE. So I think that was very forward thinking of the state and, all the actions that they're taking, so. And then I also participated in a roundtable with the publication of Lakeshore of West Michigan. They are kind of a media publication, but they work very closely with like local units of government and not-for-profits, and they were able to actually run a story about the update to the township hall recently, which was great. And they've covered our stories before, so just to try to build that relationship and ensure that all the great things that are happening in the township continue to get out there via the media. And I think that's it.
Thank you, well done. All right,
brings us to the public comment portion of our meeting, the first one. There will be one at the end of the meeting as well. Is there anybody that would like to speak at this time that's in our audience? Come on. Good evening.
I'm glad to be here on behalf of the Allegan County Legal Assistance Center. My name is Linda Teeter. The center is located at 113 Chestnut Street in the Allegan County Courthouse. And I believe since we were here the last time, the center with the renovations in the courthouse has moved from the lower level up to the first floor. So my first ask is, it's been nearly a year since we provided an annual report to you, and wondering if we can be on your agenda in May to bring an annual report to you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That under presentations.
I passed around a flyer and wondered if you would consider including that with your summer tax bill mailing. Last summer and winter, we've had about 6 local units of government that have included it with there. We would do the printing, we purposely put it on thin paper so it doesn't add to much to your postage costs, but most all of the local units have seen a significant increase of people coming in. It's just another way of awareness for people, so if you might consider that, and if so, then I just need to know how many. I was planning to print somewhere around the middle of May. Thank you. I'll see you in May.
Yes.
Daniel, if I can let you know who will be coming.
Yes,
All right.
perfect.
We
Thank
look
you.
forward to it. Thank you for being here.
Thank
And
you.
for your work. Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to speak right now? I assume Ashley would like to speak at, okay, so let's go ahead and close that and move on to item number 5, which is approval of the agenda. I trust everybody has had a chance to review the agenda, and I would entertain a motion to approve it as presented.
Supervisor.
Oh,
Richter.
we do have the addition to the consent.
Yes.
Go ahead and talk about that.
So this came in late. I'm hoping that we had a conversation, so hopefully it doesn't come in late again, but this is a payment application number 3 for the renovation of the hall. It's a big number. I mean, we're totally on budget and everything to be expected, but it's a payment application for $30,723.57. I just want to make sure that we pay it on time so we don't irritate our subcontractors on day 7.
Right. Yeah.
And I'd probably recommend that it be added under the consent agenda as item 6H. Yeah, progressive payment application number 3.
I move to approve the agenda with the addition of item 6H on the consent agenda.
I'll support that.
We have a motion and support. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. So that brings us to our consent agenda with the addition that was approved in the approval of the agenda as a whole. Again, I'm sure, well, we reviewed all of this yesterday. So unless there's any discussion or anybody, any concerns or such items in the consent agenda that we would like to pull out and discuss separately, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Motion to approve the agenda as amended. I'll support.
We have a motion to support the consent agenda as amended and support. Further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Okay. skipping all the way down, we do not have, anything under, item 7 through 12, so. Item number 13 is commission appointments, planning commission. Daniel, do you just wanna review your memo and then I'll take it from there?
Yeah, so we have one appointment to make to the planning commission. It's to fill a vacancy for a partial term that expires June 30th, 2028. I believe that we might have all the applicants here. We have one applicant on Zoom. And then for this one, the township supervisor makes the appointment. And then the board will vote to support that appointment or not support that appointment.
Great. We have 4 applicants, to my understanding, which I am very pleased to hear. We have 1 position, which is not ideal, but we may have some other positions coming up shortly. So we'll talk about that again, but if you're not chosen, please keep reapplying. Daniel has a personal story. We like to tell Daniel's story all the time.
Yes.
Daniel was not chosen. What did you tell it? You tell it.
Yeah, I was not sure. How many times? 3 times? I was not chosen.
Big.
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
Yeah, not chosen 3 times. The 4th time was the charm, and it was a great run. I know.
Yeah, it was.
The first time I didn't get it, that wasn't you all. It was a different board, but you know there were great people. I mean, Dave Eiley actually was appointed before me. And I was able to serve with Dave, and Dave was just a fantastic addition to the planning commission. And so I thought you all made a great choice in appointing Dave, and yeah, I think, you know, over time, the planning commission changes. I think there have been a lot of members, there are a lot of members on the planning commission currently who've been there for many years and they've done a fantastic job in serving. And I think we're starting to see people wanting to step down and do different things, and so this is the first planning commissioner who's stepping down and opening up a new spot, but I like you said, I think that other spots will open up, and so, yeah, if you want it, keep trying,
Yes.
cause it will, yeah, it happen.
Thank you, Daniel, for your inspirational story. So, I feel bad. Okay.
Me too.
So I'm gonna make a suggestion how we go ahead and proceed with this is that we interview, we have all the applicants come to the podium or, you know, join us online and kind of talk about their, you know, their relevant experience, their interest in this, just, you know, what sparked their interest, how could they be of help, you know, how do they see themselves fitting in this, so just kind of an introduction, and then I do have some, questions that Treasurer Helmrich, we know how much he loves to interview our applicants. I have some questions, but it didn't seem fair to ask everybody because then everybody else would have more so do round robin on the
Perfect.
questions.
Perfect.
Does that sound okay? Okay. All right, do we have anybody that's willing to introduce themselves first and tell us why you want to be on the planning commission? Daniel Classwell's right? Thank you.
Like flashbacks to 8th grade speech class. Thanks for having me. I think I've met some of you through the election work I've been doing, but others, my name is Dan Class. We live just over on Clearview Lane, not too far away, and I've been at that house for about 21 years now. And I've been full-time here since about 2018, so yeah, so I guess as far as interest in the planning commission, you know, I think we have a great setting here already. We're already really lucky to have the lakeshore, the dunes, and you know the river and everything else we have here, and also great people as well. So I think that you know is going to keep attracting projects and things people want to do in the area. So feel like it's important to, pay attention and, be part of that, and just be aware of what's happening and maybe have a hand in doing that. And kind of seeing what projects come about and what happens with those. So that's kind of mostly what I was interested in, just seeing some of the things that were coming down the pike and thinking they were interesting, and as our area and the greater even West Michigan keeps growing, I think we'll have more and more I won't say pressure, that's a negative word, but people wanting to develop in the area, which is great, a mixture. So in my past professional careers, I was mainly in insurance. I'm an engineer by background. So I have written, a lot of insurance contracts, but also, was able to understand other people's contracts and kind of understand how they apply to our clients or, to our company. So I feel like, digging into some of the weeds on, I'm guessing with some complicated documents is something I'm used to. So yeah, let's see what else. Outside of the township, my family has a farm, which we've had for actually 100 years last year. So that's been a long-term thing. So I feel like that kind of gives me an appreciation for development versus, alternate uses, or, keeping things as they are when it's a productive use of land. So I feel like I've got a couple different aspects right there. So I don't want to go into too long. I know there are questions later, so I will let it go with that, I guess. All right, thanks.
I think you all know I'm Doug Manning, live at 2566 Lakeshore Drive. My wife and I have owned a home in Saugatuck Township for 35 years now, more than 35 years. And I'm seeking this as an opportunity to contribute to our community, to foster what I think are our shared values. So balanced, responsible growth, preservation of the township's character, responsible land use, and environmental stewardship. I have been a frequent attendee of planship meetings, so I think I have a good understanding of the process and the rapport and the culture. And I think it's important, I understand the importance of teamwork, of consensus among the commissioners, of treating applicants fairly and with respect, and treating people, the members of the public who come, often with some serious concerns about development projects, treating them with, an equal amount of respect. Of sort of reasoned deliberations, and sort of a judicious temperament, I guess I would say, that, setting aside any personal biases that one might have in decision-making, that you're deciding things based on our community values as delineated in the zoning ordinance. And that's it. I embrace the values that I learned as a journalist. So I started off working at NBC and CBS News. And, they're reporting in a whole variety of diverse stories, across the spectrum, but it's being inquisitive. It's asking questions, asking good questions, listening. That's like a key part of this, is listening and assimilating the information people are telling you. And then keeping an open mind and strict impartiality. That's the old school journalism that I was brought up with. And I believe we have a civic duty, really an obligation to serve the public and treat people fairly. That I don't have any, agenda. I'm not coming and approaching this with an agenda to do something or something I think needs to be righted that's wrong. And I really have no other aspirations. So this is not a stepping stone for anything. It's really wanting to work on the planning commission and contribute to that. I guess I would also say that I understand, particularly from seeing the planning commission in action, that they make very, very difficult decisions. And oftentimes, there is some dissatisfaction with the decision from the perspective of the person petitioning the planning commission and also members of the public. And so they're coming at things where there's a lot of not consensus amongst the people coming before the planning commission. And I think, I would hope that people would be able to walk away from this and say that the decision was based upon the township's values as outlined in the zoning ordinance. And walk away and understand that's what the decision was based on, not some personal view of somebody or some agenda that somebody had. And I would say that I also embrace the township's, what I believe are the township's long-term values and objectives, the revitalization of the Blue Star corridor, the Hamlet development plan, and the master plan that we have coming up, which I think is a critical thing for our community. I would say that I think it's also advantageous to have geographical diversity on the planning commission. And I think all the members of the planning commission are great. They're really honest. They work hard. They approach things in a judicial kind of a way. But nobody lives around the lakeshore or on the lakeshore. And I think we all appreciate Lake Michigan, and we understand that it's a precious natural resource for us and our community. But I bring sort of firsthand experience from 35 years of understanding erosion and understanding sort of the environmental delicacy of that region and the importance of that. And so I think that will be a benefit to the planning commission, and also kind of thinking about the master plan and how the lakeshore impacts our community and who we are, and I think is critical for that. I recognize I have a lot to learn. I would learn a lot and hope to learn a lot from staff, from fellow commissioners, and also take advantage of Michigan State's extensions, of course, on planning, as well as the MTA planning forces. So we hope to be able to take advantage of those. And lastly, I'll just say thank you for your consideration. I hope that in some small way I can contribute to making this a better community.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, are you turning me?
I am,
Okay, would you like to
sure.
come to the podium and introduce yourself?
Tim Laird, and alluding to your comment, 8th grade speech class, this is more like impromptu because I don't have any notes, but I'll be simple here. I'm new to the area. My wife and I moved here less than a year ago, and I thought this might be, I get 2 newsletters via email. And I thought this might be an opportunity to learn more about my community. I'm in a run club in this area. And you hear all the talk about this, that, and the other, another corridor coming through. And so I just thought, hey, throw the name in the hat. These guys sound a lot more accomplished than I am and qualified, but that's okay. There may be some other opportunities I heard earlier about parks, and that I'm kind of like outdoors. So anyway, I've had previous experience on Holland Public Schools where I spent 40 years living, planning, strategic planning. Also did it for the Holland Rescue Mission. I think they call themselves something different now. But I come with a lot of questions and trying to understand perspectives, so it would be a great learning experience. So that's all I got for you.
Thank you. Alright. Ashley, are you with us? We're gonna unmute you. Ashley, can you hear us? Ashley, are you?
Oh, she lost her. See if she tries to reconnect. You wanna do round robin?
Yeah, we can do round robin and she reconnects, we can, then she won't hear all the questions.
She won't hear, exactly.
So. Right. In open meetings, we're not allowed to use our phones, but I'm gonna make this exception once, I'm not going like surfing the internet, I'm just pulling up Treasurer Hallmark's questions. So I'm gonna start with Daniel Klask on this one. And you can interpret this, you know, however you want. This one is leaves a little to the imagination. Please share 2 top challenges you see for the planning commission.
Okay, well, I guess I would look at it as kind of big picture and then smaller picture. I think the big picture challenge would be to, you know, really kind of study and formalize the master plan, to make sure that the commission's guidelines and goals are well established. I think that would be, and I can imagine that's something that, you know, is revisited with some on a schedule or et cetera, but I guess keeping on top of that, making sure everyone's feels like that is reflecting what the township wants to do. And then I think the second would be, you know, to focus in a little bit more and see how individual requests and land uses and potential projects fit into that master plan and the values of the community. So I think that was a little too broad for the answer.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was great, thank you. Doug, would you like to take a stab at
Sure.
that?
I agree, the master plan, I think, is obviously number one. And the most critical thing that the planning commission will be involved in. Even though work on that really doesn't begin for a few months until this grant comes through. I think that's work and thinking on that can actually begin now, you know, informally. And that's gonna be the thing that drives who this community or what this community is for the next decade or more. So that's critical. And then the second thing I think would be kind of digging into the hamlet development proposal. Trying to wrap our heads around that, understand that, maybe learn more from other examples like Union Pier and what has worked well there and what isn't. How can we improve that, you know, steal their idea, it's not their idea, but steal their experience and improve that and adapt that to our community where, you know, the downtown for us is much closer than Union Pier's downtown to New Buffalo is. So how does that affect it? But I think that work and thinking and, you know, getting into the nuts and bolts of that would be the second big challenge.
Thank you, Mr. Manning.
I think Ashley, you can see her.
Yes,
Okay.
I'll get to her after we,
Okay.
I'll just have her answer that. I'm tired. Mr. Mayor.
I could not offer anything more than what those 2 gentlemen did.
Very good. Oh. All right, this one's easy. So I'm gonna start now with, Doug, I'll start with you and then, do you have a favorite park in the township?
Yes, the obvious answer is Tales and Trails.
Right.
We're dog owners, our dog is absolutely schizophrenic about riding in cars. So I've been there, I helped set up some of the signs around it. I think it's fabulous, but I would say Sunset Park or what used to be Sundown Park is my favorite. And the reason is it's the only public park where people can really experience Lake Michigan and see sunsets. It's tiny. It's, we wish it were 2 acres. It's not. It's a tiny parcel, but it's unique. And I think everybody should have an opportunity to enjoy and experience Lake Michigan. And so I appreciate it for that, even though it's small.
I've been to both Trails and Trails, I've been to Sundown, I enjoyed Sundown, it is small. But I think Schultz, is that within our regions? No? Or no, okay. I was gonna give that a plug for pickleball. So I would go with, yeah, Sundown is a beautiful spot, it's quiet, it's not a big enough area where everybody's gonna be attracted to go to, if you wanna clear your head, that's.
Mr. West.
I don't make it too unanimous, although I do like Sunset Park, so, I'll throw in a plug in for Riverside, just because I like to go. You can get down close to the river right there, and you can't do that in a lot of places, so. I like that one, it feels like a little bit of a hidden too.
Yeah.
Took me actually a few years before I moved there.
Great. Ashley, can you hear us? Ashley?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. So the applicants have all, except for you, and it's your turn, if you're willing, to tell us a little bit about yourself and, why you're, what prompted you to apply for this position and how you see, yourself fitting in it. And then we'll ask some specific questions afterwards. And you missed a little bit of the round robin, but we'll plug you right in.
On spring break with my son. So and what a unique and amazing community it is. I
Ashley, we're getting only a portion of what you're saying. See if she can just voice in.
Let's put it up to the best. I think it was a valiant attempt, but I don't think it's gonna work.
Where is she on vacation?
From airport. No, where?
She's.
Okay, here she's calling. Okay. Ashley, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. I'm so sorry. I'm at Legoland currently. Spring break with my son, so my connection is not ideal, I would say. But I did hear some of the other candidates speak before, so I was able to hear some of that. And ultimately, I applied to be on the planning commission because I was born and raised in Saugatuck. I spent some time away, which ultimately helped me realize what an amazing and unique community Saugatuck is. And I have lived in the township for about 30 years now. I've seen it grow immensely over that time. There used to be just apple orchards next to where we live, and now there's so many different subdivisions. And one of the things that I am most passionate about is Blue Star Corridor project. I see that being so important because, especially where I live in the township, like behind spectators of Blue Star Gym area, right there, there are so many families back there. We all have young children, and there's not really safe passageways for kids to get across Blue Star. There aren't sidewalks for riding bikes and things like that. And I would really love to see all of that comes to fruition. I think that it's a really important piece for ultimately connecting all of our communities, so Saugatuck Township, City, and Douglas. And I think that as a parent of a younger child, I can have a voice that that many would appreciate.
Can you read any questions? It's too challenging.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. That was great, Ashley. So the first question that was asked of the other applicants was, can you name 2 challenges that you believe the planning commission currently faces or may face in the near future?
I think there's always a challenge in trying to develop mindfully and make sure that we are taking into consideration conservation plan and things like that, while also continuing to create more places for families to live. I know that the Blue Star project is going to be a huge project that is going to be controversial for some. It's their businesses that are going to be affected. Hopefully, those businesses will see the benefit of it. However, I know there will be many voices coming to the table when it comes to that.
Park.
And then the second question, Ashley, was, what is your favorite park in the township and why?
That's a good question. I actually have recently fallen in love with Sunset Park. I didn't know that it existed until I started attending meetings, and I really love going out to that one. I like to take my son out there, and I'm excited for the renovations that are going to be going on there, for the native plantings and how all of that's going to come together. I think that it's really awesome.
Thank you.
Very cool. Thanks, Ashley. Hang in there. Stay there.
Thank you. Sorry.
No.
Sorry if you hear dinosaurs roaring.
Okay. So, Mr. Leary, I'll start with you this time. Are you willing to attend planning trainings? You want to talk about that, Cindy? What's usually involved?
Yes, there's several different organizations that put together some planning training. And they include the State of Michigan Extension Service, the Michigan Township Association, and Association of Michigan Planners, Michigan Association of Planners. They offer various kinds of training at various different levels of expertise. And it's best that, in fact, the Planning Commission just amended their bylaws to include training at least once a year. So a lot of those are available online, but some of them are in person. And would you be willing to attend some of those training meetings, and which kind would interest you the most? Right?
I'd be more than happy to attend training. Can you summarize the types of training again? You said Michigan State or State of Michigan?
Michigan State Extension, University Extension Services. That one is a 6-week course, every day on a Tuesday or a Thursday for a couple of hours in the evening. And those are pretty basic. They give, an introduction to what is planning commission all about and what is their duties and responsibilities. There's other trainings that are more intense or focused on different issues. There might be some that focus on how to develop a master plan. And they could be more intense, and they could be off-site in Kalamazoo or
Frankfurt, I like Frankfurt.
Frankfurt.
I would start with the basic one.
Good answer, good answer. So then that brings us, we'll loop Ashley in now, so. Yeah, if you could just reiterate.
Yep.
She's fine.
Ashley, did you hear Cindy's question?
Yes, about trainings?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want to answer?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I would absolutely be willing to attend as many trainings as possible. I know that this is something that I have a lot to learn on, and I'm eager to learn to get more involved and make sure that I'm making the most educated decisions.
Thank you, Ashley. Mr. Claus?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, I would know I have a lot to learn as far as the lingo goes and the procedures, so I would actually prefer to go to training than to kind of muddle my way through it, with everyone's help, of course, but yeah, it makes sense to start off with, you know, the kind of basic training and then just see what feels like it's required or anything, but no problem doing that. Lots of training courses in my life.
And just to be clear, Cindy, there's no like huge, like, in 6 months you have to do this, and the next, it's not a stringent, but, it's certainly frowned upon if people are not willing to do any education. Mr. Manning?
Yes, I mean, as I said earlier, I want to aggressively pursue that. And I think it's also important to make sure that I understand sort of the good government rules, so the Robert's Rules of Order. And so, you know, there's some things that I'm aware of, but really need, you know, to make sure I'm up to speed on the procedural stuff as well as the planning stuff.
Everybody, right?
Mhm.
No one? Okay.
Mhm.
All right, we'll go back to Mr. Klask. Any specific actions that the planning commission has taken recently that you would have questioned or not voted yes on? Well, that's a loaded question. John knew he wasn't gonna be here, so we could have some really, you know.
Well, I, you know, being a little bit of a nerd, I have read through some of the old meeting minutes and notes and things. Gosh, I'm not sure anything sticks out. I find that I'm usually kind of impressed at the detail that the commission goes into before making a decision, so I feel like even if I had personally disagreed with something, you know, the commission's following the zoning rules and then as they're laid out, I think, you know, that is the right decision, so I'm not sure I can name something that I would, you know, be outside of the big so, yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Meany?
Sure, I would say, and you know, it seems to me that, you know, 95% of the decisions of the planning commission are unanimous. The most recent one that was not was this site across from Dales and Trails. And it was not evenly split because the decision came down that they couldn't compact concrete and other materials there. But it was like a 4-3 vote, I want to say, if I remember correctly. And I think I would have voted, you know, were I to have a vote there to not allow the crushing of concrete. You know, that was, you know, probably the only really contentious decision that I can recall over recent months, and how I would have voted. You know, based on what I heard, you know, from, you know, being in these chairs.
Mr. Larry?
No red flags, nothing's alarming.
Ashley, did you hear the question?
Yes, I did. Nothing specific comes to mind, regarding any major decisions that have been made recently. However, I do feel like often, when decisions are made, people like to just strike and without knowing kind of the full story behind things. And so, I would try to better educate myself in those areas. when people get heated about something without understanding what's going on behind it, especially when it comes to zoning and things like that.
Thank you, Ashley. All right, that concludes John's questions. I have just a couple and then we'll open it up to the rest of the board. Mr. Manning talked about it a little bit, but I was thinking about it and actually talking about it with Manager DeFranco. We're proud of our township, our staff, our board, our commissions. We just really, we have a good group, you know, of people. And I think one of the really important things about being on the PC is when we can find consensus, we do, right? Sometimes we don't, and that's okay. You know, we're not gonna, you know, everybody doesn't have to agree. And we are looking for team players, not a watchdog, not a, you know, I'm gonna make sure everything's, you know, all that, you know, I'm gonna right all these wrongs and catch this person doing that. So that is very important to our culture here, just to, and if there are differences, that we move on, you know, that we move on quickly and say, you know, I didn't win that one. You know, I didn't agree with it, but that's okay. I'm still on this team and we're moving forward and we're gonna do the right thing for the township and we're gonna abide by the, you know, the ordinances and the rules that are set in front of us. So, I guess that's a little lecture-y, but that's who we are, and that's really who we're seeking somebody to fit that position. And that's not to say that sometimes you do need to rock the boat. You know, we do need strong voices sometimes when there are things that need to be said or brought to the surface. I always say that we're golden retrievers here at the township. We're not pit bulls, we're not chihuahuas, we're golden retrievers. We're nice, we're friendly, and we're gonna get the job done. So that's kind of what we're after. But one more question from me, and then I'm gonna open it up to the rest of the trustees for everyone. And I'll just start with Mr. Laird here and go clockwise. Is do you winter or do you have? We do. I mean, occasional absences are fine, but you know, so once a month meeting, so we do, you know, ask that for a commitment of, you know, being present.
At this time, that's not an issue. I'd be year round.
Mr. Klaus?
Yeah, and we used to go away for like the winter, you know, pre-COVID thing, but now we've kind of changed our plan. We usually go away for a few months, maybe, sorry, a few weeks. Several times in the winter, but knowing the requirements of meeting times in advance, they can work around that.
Okay. Mr. Mealy?
And I would say the same, we're full time. We don't have plans to go to. Short. Several days. That's the only.
Ashley, did you hear the question?
Yes, I did. I live and work full time in Saugatuck, other than the fact that I am personally great now. But yes, I'm always there.
Thank you. All right, Trustee Marcy, do you have any questions for the applicant?
You took it. It was the winter question.
It's springtime now, so we'd like to forget about the winter, but it will come again. All right, Clerk Osmond.
I think that the responses were very adequate and very complete, and I do not have additional questions at this time.
I'm the same. I know this is your recommendation and I feel bad for you that you
Yes,
get
thank
it.
you.
Because every applicant is so well spoken and I can tell they're committed to the community and want to help, and there are opportunities, so please remember
At least there's
that.
not two applicants, that would be hard, then it would be picked one and the other would be just, at least there's four.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it, Brenda always says,
it's nice to have champagne problems, and this is one of them, you know, that we are in a community where we have people who have incredible, vast experiences and backgrounds and educations. And we have so many people that want to volunteer, and that's not, it's not across the board in our county, you know, it's unique to us and we appreciate it. I know for Osmond, when I was clerk, sometimes we have inspectors that would want to work elections, we just have so many, and it's great, and we have other communities that were borrowing our workers, so we are just so overjoyed that you're here, and please keep applying if you are not chosen. Get with Daniel, get with any of us about other opportunities. It's not just PC and, you know, zoning board of appeals. We have specific, you know, committees, advisory committees that pop up, so keep trying.
Oh, I identify as a Labrador. Thank you.
Well,
I get that out. Yeah.
Likes the water.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Okay.
Close enough, I'll
I just want to get that out there. We have a numbers board here.
All right. Anything else before I make the appointment? That's really hard, you guys.
There's going to be more opportunity.
There is, okay. I move to approve the appointment of Doug Manning to the Planning Commission to expire June 30, 2028. So then,
I would make the motion to accept supervisor's recommendation for appointing planning commission member Doug Manning.
and I'll support.
Oh, we did that.
And I would do a roll call.
Okay.
We have a motion by Osmond. Support by Marcy. Further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Osmond,
Yes.
Marcy,
Yes.
Bigford, yes. Aldrich.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you, Danielle.
Come back.
Well, I'm not going anywhere.
All right.
Enjoy Land. You're welcome.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. That brings us to item number 15, public comments. Anybody want to speak at this time in the audience?
Just from the state, you guys are, sorry, Stacy.
Oh, okay.
You know, all the years that I've lived here and I've sat through meetings, I stopped coming because it was so always intense.
Yeah.
And yes, we get upset with each other about things, but at the same time, I just respect you guys from ground up. I'm so grateful for the community that we have. And I think it just showed tonight and many times when I sit in these rooms. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
And that's why we have volunteers.
Yes,
Because of you guys.
yes.
And this guy.
Thank you.
And the giggling that goes on.
Right.
It's not every meeting. Some meetings we have to be more serious.
Oh, gotcha. But there's always either before or after, if there's no anger, there's no. So I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? We don't have anybody else online?
No.
Wow, okay. Open board comments. Is there any trustees that would like to say anything right now?
Just again, thank you for
Yes.
all your great applications, the applicants for this, and really do appreciate the commitment to the community. I went to the Parks meeting this month, and our Parks Department is very active, and I'm sure there's plenty of opportunity to volunteer and help with that. So keep
Yes.
trying and get involved. It's great. They do a good job.
As Abby mentioned, I am always amazed at the people that apply, and I want to take all of them.
Mhm.
It's just, I don't even, it just really makes our job easier, but it's just always so fulfilling to see the people that come in and what they say and their commitment to the community is always moving.
Yeah, it's really great that we're so lucky to have such a wide range of talents and expertise willing to step forward and contribute. There will be more opportunities, I promise. So if you didn't get appointed tonight, do come back.
Or we will come and find you.
And we won't be here forever either. These jobs will be open. This job.
We have your phone number
Okay, anything else? Very good, I will go ahead and adjourn tonight's meeting at 7:06. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.